The first thing that I'm going to talk about when we talk about the 5 key reasons people fail in a freedom business is employee mindset. So we've got to start right away at the foundation. And this really comes all the way back to from the moment we are born. Okay, so we go through conditioning phases, which we allow to happen. So there's conditioning phases that take place that basically are who we are today, who I am, who you are, everything that's going on. So we have these beliefs that are created, and our beliefs pretty much all the time are created from our parents. The people who bring us up, there's where our beliefs are created. Our values are a byproduct of that as well. So we end up, in all fairness, living our life based on somebody else's belief, based on somebody else's values, unless we're actually willing to start shifting. Okay, unless we're willing to actually open our mind. And that's why it's important when we look at, number 1, the employee mindset, and we start here from birth, then what happens? We go through this phase where we're at home and we're learning to grow and gain the essential skills we need to learn what's right or wrong, or what to do and what not to do, such as don't touch the hot pan, don't roll down the stairs because you could end up breaking your neck, all these different things that we start to create a level of confidence based on fear. So what we can and can't do. Now, from there, when we get to an age where maybe 5, 6 years of age, we then go into the schooling system, where we're basically conditioned through all of that. And we allow that to happen. And obviously there's laws in there to make sure people receive schooling. But we go through this process where we're actually being educated on we need to be somewhere at a certain time, and we need to follow those rules, and we need to abide by whatever it is that's been put in place to help us get the results, but to also help the whole system work. And then from school, from primary school, kindergarten, whichever, we then step into secondary school. We go through the phase of actually more and more education, more and more control. And this is actually all creating and setting us up for what's to come, which then is once we leave school, we go to college or university, or we go straight into work. People can leave school early and go straight into work. But what tends to happen is we step into an environment which is very much focused on industry regulation. So like controlling you, putting you in a box. And the thing is the schooling system hasn't evolved really, apart from the technology, but it hasn't evolved really from the industrial age. So we're still being controlled and manipulated to actually go through all this series of mindset dumbing down, in all fairness. And I really don't mean anything ill to anybody who's a teacher. I'm very, very grateful for my teachers over the years, but we've got to look at the foundation of this. We can't blame the teachers. We've got to blame the educational system, which the teachers are teaching, which the teachers are educating from. So we've always got to get back to the cause. Now, the employee mindset is created, and it really is created to make us be dependent, not independent. It isn't giving us the confidence to get out there. It isn't supporting us to go out there and create the jobs. It's focused on, okay, when you get into the end of your schooling, based on your results, this is what we recommend for you. If you've ever seen a careers advisor and that careers advisor recommended what you should go and do, comment below, because this is important that we get clear on what were we told to do based on our results, based on what we were, the grades we were getting, or the kind of feedback we were getting from the teachers. I know that I was told to go into certain areas, and I'm not saying that those people were wrong, but at the same time, was it what I really came here to do? Was I being true to myself? Was my mindset being so controlled that it was affecting my growth? And this is really important for you to look at in this moment right now, because whilst you're watching this video, there's going to be things that are happening that you're thinking to yourself, do you know what? Now I'm realizing that through those years, and remember, we give up a big chunk of our early stage life, our early stage development, to be controlled and pushed into an area that really may not mean so much to us later on, especially why we see so many people having midlife crises, breakdowns, because they're not where they want to be. Yet there's a lot of pressure put on by parents, and I'm very fortunate that my parents didn't put pressure on me, but there's a lot of pressure on other people from parents to go and do certain things, basically to make the parents happy, not for the individual, the child, to make the parents happy. Control, once again, beliefs, values that are being created. So we've got to get to a place where we are choosing to be independent, where we are actually, if we want a freedom business, if we want any form of additional business outside of a job to work, we've got to learn to become independent. We've got to shift the mindset, all the controlling that's gone into here, to be able to expand, to be able to grow. Because what's happened is that all throughout our schooling, we've gone there and we know that we've exchanged, let's say on average it's 9 a.m. till 3 p.m. So we've exchanged approximately 6 hours a day to education. So we've gone there for 6 hours and we've learned something. And then what we do is we go into the workplace, and it's usually an 8-hour day. We exchange our time and our value and our knowledge and our experience for money. And once again, we have that employee mindset. When I go and give my time and I show up to work and I add that level of value, I'm given a certain amount of monetary value, which is perfectly fine. I'm not knocking a job, but I want you to focus on the mindset, the conditioning that's taken place. So we then have this conditioning that time equals money. And that is very, very disempowering when you're looking to build a freedom business, when you're looking to build your own online, offline, lifestyle business, whatever it might be, network marketing, direct sales, even traditional business. It's really disempowering to have that level of mindset. And what a lot of people are actually doing, because they're so used to that level of exchange, that they're looking for guarantees. So because they know that, and this is a big thing that's all around the world, you know, you can go to the gym and if you don't get results within 3 months, we're going to give you your money back. If you buy this TV and it's not, and you want it to have a guarantee of 3 or 5 years, whatever it is, you're only going to buy it based on the guarantee. There's cars now at the moment, car companies who are offering 7 years unlimited warranty and all this kind of thing. So we're looking for things for a guarantee, but we've got to actually look ourselves in the mirror and ask ourselves, are we willing to give a guarantee to ourselves that we're going to actually do the work that's needed, go through the shifting process? Because that's really, really powerful to helping us get to the destination, get the level of success that we desire, but more importantly, that we truly deserve. Is this resonating with me? Comment below if this is resonating, the employee mindset. We have to shift it. And that's one of the key reasons, right from the word go, right from the foundation, that I find a lot of people fail. They fail, and when I say fail, they quit. They quit, okay? Because nothing throughout the whole process is a failure. It's 100% growth, but they quit. And remember, that's the only way you can fail in any business, in any relationship, in any way in life is to quit. That's failure. So we've got to then start looking at number 2, which what we've got here, I'm just going to go through some of the comments as well that we've got. Hey to everybody. Hey, great, everybody jumping on. Thank you so much. Yes, saw a career advisor and they just confused me so much. Yes, in my day, all girls were channeled into being secretaries or nurses. Hey to everyone who's jumped on as well. Fantastic to see everyone. Being the youngest of 5, I was always expected to follow in my sister's footsteps, but I was so different to her and I only took ownership of that when I was in my early 30s. So, you know, a lot of people get into the 30s, including myself. I got to 30 and decided it was time to change my direction, change my career. I wasn't, even though I was good at what I was doing and I was earning good money, I was not actually happy. I wasn't being fulfilled. Okay, so that's the big word there, fulfilled. So fantastic. Thanks, everybody's jumped on and commenting. So good. Yeah, the employee mindset has to be adjusted. Absolutely. And this is what's super important. Taking full responsibility and not giving up is so important. Totally, Kirsty. So the angle around it is that we have to shift, because if we don't evolve, if we don't grow, we're never going to experience what we came here to actually experience. We're never going to make the difference in our own life, let alone anybody else's life. And as we always say, and what's so important to always remember is that your life changes by impacting other people's lives. You know, the job that you may have right now, the only reason you're earning money is because there's a sale being made by that company, whether that be for a product or a service. And you're a piece of the chain that helps all that happen. And that's exactly the same in your own business, whether it be like a freedom, an online, having your own shop, traditional business, network marketing business, irrelevant of what type it is, you are a piece of the chain in the whole thing. So if that link is missing, there's a problem. And that's why companies in a job will replace people, because they go, well, you're just the link in our chain, and we need to make sure that link is always there. So if you're not going to be performing, we're just going to get rid of that link, and we're going to put a new link in for somebody that's actually ready to invest their time, invest their energy, refresh. You know what it's like in any kind of sport where it's a team game, and they have substitutes because they're bringing on fresh energy, hungry to make a difference in the game and impact. This is exactly the same, but as a solopreneur, as an entrepreneur, with your own business, you're the team player from the beginning. You're the substitute. You're the coach. You're wearing all the different hats. You know, it's often said you're the director of your own movie. So what kind of movie are you going to make? Now, that's also referred to your life. But we're talking about our business here when we're making that commitment to actually move forward. So moving on from number one that I find in regards to the employee mindset, which we've got to shift and be able to move forward, we then start looking at time frame. Like the amount of people I speak to who have this incredible ability to put a time frame. Give me a comment below if you've ever stepped into a relationship and said, I'm going to give this 3 months. I'm going to give this 6 months before I decide to move on. Like, have you ever done that? Have you ever stepped into a job and said, I'm just going to give this amount of time and see if I like it? If you actually put a time limit on your own business, not somebody else's business. Remember, when you're working a job, you're building somebody else's dreams. You're working for somebody else. And that person, as blessed and as grateful as you need to be that they've created the job for you to step in, to help you pay your bills, to do what you need to do, you don't have to continue doing that for the rest of your life. You can do what you need to do in this part, and then you can go and create what you need to here. So, you know, in 24 hours in a day, if 8 hours is sleeping and 8 hours is at work, what are you doing the other 8 hours of the day? Have a good think around what are you doing in the other 8 hours of that day, because you've already slept and you've already gone to work and you've earned the money to pay the bills. So what are you creating now? What is actually going on? And I know there's going to be parents on here, and they're going to be like, the kids. But at the same time, if you don't make that time, if you don't create that gap in your calendar, in your daily calendar to help you move forward, you're always going to be the kind of person who's dependent on somebody else giving them a job. You're never going to be happy. You're never going to be moving forward in the direction that you truly want to go, because the only people who step into their own business are people who aren't happy with the system the way it is right now. That's the reality of it. The only people, I've never met anybody who's got their own business who said, I absolutely love having a job. They've all said, I wanted to create more. I wasn't happy where I was. I knew that I needed to do something. I needed to become independent, and this is where I am right now. And they decided to actually push forward. They never said, no one's ever said who's successful, no one has ever said, I'll give this a period of time and then I'll stop. They've just showed up every day, and they've kept growing and learning and figuring out what isn't working, what is working, what they can do better. Remember, they're the 3 questions to always ask yourself. What isn't working, what is working, and what can I do better? Because every single day you're growing, you're evolving, you're learning more. This is why it's so important we don't put that timeline on. But this really leads into number 3, a lack of commitment. That's why so many people fail, quit in business, in their relationships, in their life, because they're not prepared to commit. They're not prepared to push on through. They're not prepared to get uncomfortable. And we must commit if we want to actually move forward. For everything that I've ever done, I've drawn a line in the sand and I've committed. I've moved forward. And I want you to comment right now. Is there anything in your life where you've actually got to the point where you've gone, enough is enough, you've drawn a line in the sand, and in that moment of stepping over, you don't have to have actually drawn the line in the sand, especially if you're nowhere near a beach, but in that moment, you've stepped over and you've said, from here on in, it's going to change, and you've committed. You've committed to making that happen. Because unfortunately, comment below if that's you. Because unfortunately, many people choose to just dip their toes in. And what happens when we just dip our toes in? We never totally get wet. We never experience the value of swimming in that hot spring. We just dip our toes in and go, ooh, it might be a bit too hot, I don't know. Might be a bit deep. I might get too wrinkly being in there. But didn't ever actually commit to jumping on in there and experiencing the true value, the true beauty. And this is why so many people fail. And when we start looking at network marketing in particular, why is that industry a revolving door? Why is there such high levels of people failing? And remember, we want to protect ourselves. The logical brain, the left side, wants to protect us. It wants to actually keep us safe. The right side wants to actually get out there. But no. We've been so conditioned, which we've allowed to happen over the years. Protect yourself. Don't do that. This is so the way that we live as a society is so disempowering. And it's only later on when we get usually around the 30s, definitely going into the 40s, we start to ask, what the hell am I doing? What's going on? And it's all through what we've allowed to happen, the choices we've made, and we've got to get to where we are, to where we're not happy. But we've got to draw that line in the sand to move forward. And those people who have failed, especially in network marketing, came in on all the hype. That's one of the biggest things that I despised in the industry. That's why I never focused on all the hype stuff. I didn't buy into it because I knew it was fake. It's the campfire effect. When you're around the campfire and it's nice and warm, you're enjoying it. But the second you go off for a wee and you go off into the bushes to get well away from everybody, all of a sudden it starts to get cooler and it starts to get cold. And then all of a sudden you're cold and you're away from everything. And this is why so many people who step into network marketing in particular, and I'm not saying that it doesn't affect franchises and traditional businesses and direct sales businesses and so on, but definitely in network marketing, because it's an industry where people, because of the resistance to growth, because it's easier to blame some company or somebody else, why so many people have a negative perception and attachment to network marketing, because they're like, oh, it's one of those pyramid schemes. Oh, nobody ever earns money. It's only the people at the top who earn money. It's a scam. Why are they saying all this? Because it's protection, because they know that they aren't prepared to shift their life. They aren't prepared to get uncomfortable. They aren't prepared to commit. They aren't prepared to become independent. And the thing is those people who choose to cross that line and actually move forward with their life, they've still got these people surrounding them. And these people are giving them negative information. They're giving them this negative advice. And one of the things that I learned very early on was, don't take advice from people who aren't living the life that you want to live. Because if you are taking advice from them, what's going to happen? You're going to become disempowered. You're going to be listening to these people that have got no experience, no knowledge. I remember when I first stepped into, 555, the angels are with us. Fantastic. Well, I know that when I stepped into network marketing, my uncle took me over to one side and he said, just be careful. I was in network marketing and you got to be careful. You're not being scammed and you're not going to lose all your money. And I'm like, obviously he's got a level of experience, but that wasn't the information that I needed. I needed to be hearing the positive stuff. And that's why I was consciously aware of who was surrounding me, why I chose to jump in the groups. Because when you're surrounded by people who are empowering you every day, giving you the confidence, but more importantly, believing in you, what do you think is going to happen to your commitment? You're going to be showing up every day. You're going to keep going. But in all fairness, if you're actually relying on that, if you're relying on their level of support and their belief in you to help you get to where you need to get to, then you've got a lot of work to be doing on yourself. You're actually in a state of disempowering yourself. It's fine to leverage that, but you need to be doing internal work. Once again, employee mind shift, that's got employee mindset. That has to shift. It has to go. You have to evolve. Why do we see so many people fail? Employee mindset, lack of time commitment, and commitment in general. Not showing up to their business. Live events, team trainings, where are you? Are you going to those events? Are you going to those team trainings? Are you showing up? Because every time you go, you learn something new. I know that every time that I do a presentation in one of my businesses, I'll say something different. I'll drop, every time people come, they're always like, wow, I learned this today. There's always value. There's always gold that's being shared. And I don't say that from a place of vanity or egotistically. I'm saying that from a place of, I know that there's so much more in here that's being shared. And I'm not going to be covering everything that I want to cover in that moment. Let me know if you've ever done a Facebook Live, or you've been in an interview, or you've been in a meeting, or you've been in a relationship conversation, and you've come away thinking, oh, I didn't say that. I forgot to cover that topic. Comment below if that's ever happened to you, because I know it's happened to me in all areas of my life, not just within presentations or business, all areas of my life. And this is really important that we get clear on that level of showing up, because when we show up every single day, in some way, shape, or form, it doesn't have to be 25 or 100 calls a day. It's whatever it has to be to show up and actually move ourselves forward. If we've got to focus on ourselves, if we have to go through the personal development, if we have to listen to the audios, go to the seminars, interact with people, watch the webinars, communicate in the groups to help us move forward, to help us shift, that's showing up in your business. So have a look on a daily basis. What are you doing for your own personal growth? Your own personal growth, because many people choose to go to the seminar junkies. They're after the seminar after seminar after seminar. They read all these books, but they never take any level of action. But we'll get onto action in a bit. So we've spoken now around employee mindset, time frame, and we've spoken about commitment. So let's now talk about skill set. Because the skill set, as number 4, is what massively disempowers people. Why? Because most people who stepping into an entrepreneurship kind of direction, and because of the Gen Ys now, I mean, most of the Gen Ys coming through, the attitude is I ain't working for 40 years for anybody. I want as much money as I can for as little as I can. And let's face it, that's very hard for the earlier generations to understand, because they've grown up with school, potentially college, university, highly unlikely, then going into work. They're going into an industrial age. So we worked right the way through that, but the kids are coming out of school, or they're going through school and they're like, this is a load of crap. Why do I need to even learn this? And then they're looking for the easiest way, and technology has evolved to help them earn money simply. And this is hard for the earlier generations to understand, because we're so conditioned on time is money. So we have to go and exchange our time. But these people are posting videos on YouTube. They've got Facebook, Instagram profiles, and they're earning money. I'm like, how the hell do you do that? But this is the Gen Y. This is the technology evolving. So we've got to have a look at our skill set. And are we evolving our own skill set? Are we willing to learn? If I had stayed where I am with the level of skills that I had got, or that I had acquired through hours and hours and hours of going to college, mastering my skills, and not only implementing them, but financially benefiting from them. If I had stepped into, when I made the shift and even though I was my own boss throughout many of those years, when I shifted career completely, if I had kept that mentality and that level of knowledge and skill set, I wouldn't have been successful here. I had to evolve. I had to learn more things. And this is where many people, they get to this point and go, well, I'm 30 years of age. I'm 40 years of age. I'm 50 years of age, even 60 and 70 years of age. I haven't got time for learning something new. Surely it's got to be easier than this. And they're limiting their success based on the unwillingness to evolve, to grow, to learn the skills. And remember that you only achieve success based on mastery. So you must master the skills needed to achieve the results that you want to achieve. And technology today, as I mentioned earlier, is evolving so rapidly. We have to learn, we have to grow, we have to use it. And it isn't just a case of getting an iPad and learning how to use Skype to speak to your son or daughter on the other side of the world, which is fantastic. And I experienced that with my own family and my friends. However, we need to be evolving further than that to be leveraging that technology, because as we're seeing today, AI, artificial intelligence, is taking over jobs. You know, and people who have said to me, oh, my job's perfectly safe. No job is perfectly safe. No job is perfectly safe. We've got millions and millions dollars worth of trucks going and bringing out tons and tons of iron ore from somebody back in Perth driving it. We've got robots that got rid of 50 jobs at a bricklaying company because the robots can pick up the bricks and move them quicker. Jobs are going. We've got coffee baristas that are artificial intelligence. There's so many jobs now that are being taken away. So what do we have to do? We have to evolve. We have to look at different ways of being able to grow. So our skill set has to improve. And if you're not willing to step in and shift your mindset, not actually put a time frame in place and actually and not commit, how are you ever going to grow with those three? But also, if you're not willing to evolve with your skill set, how are you ever going to succeed? All of a sudden, you know, there's three types of people: those who make things happen, those who watch things happen, and those who wonder what the hell just happened. So let me know in the comments below, which are you? Are you in number one, making things happen? Are you in number two, wondering what's just happened? And number three, watching what the hell's watching and going, what the hell's just happened? So you've got to really, if you're wanting to be successful in your business, and it's irrelevant what kind of business it is, traditional, network marketing, direct sales, whatever it is, it's irrelevant. If you're wanting to become successful in your business, you must evolve. Success leaves clues. Like that I love that saying, success leaves clues. What are the people who are successful in your industry doing? How are they showing up? And remember, don't get caught up in the way that they are. A lot of them are very, very out there on social media, and they're doing these things. And it seems like, you know, if you do those things, then you're going to get the success. But remember, they worked, they grinded, they were grinding behind the scenes. And once they achieved that level of success, they were able to come out then and start talking about it. And people were looking up to them and asking them for help. But at the same time, when it comes down to the basics, they grinded, they put the hours in, they showed up, they committed to their business, possibly every day. They didn't go and hang out with their friends. They didn't go to the pub. They may have missed weddings. They may have even missed Christmas and just powered on through. I know that I've done that, working on Christmas Day, missed events that are going on, my birthday just cracking on, because none of that is important. What's important is what I want in my life, the impact I want to make, the lives I want to impact, what I want to leave behind for the generations after me. That's important to me, not going out and hanging out and just getting smashed on a Friday night with some mates. And I'm not saying that if you do that, it's a bad thing, but what I am saying is what is the value of it? What is if that's what you're going to get a lot of value from, you're going to enjoy that, and that's fantastic, go and do it. But what is the value that you're going to get? What is the exchange? So success leaves clues. Look at these people, follow them, read their books, ask them questions. If you can get in front of them, ask them. I know, like Letitia, who's on the call, she went to a Tony Robbins seminar. Get in front of those people, feel the energy. The energy, I mean, you can possibly feel my energy through this video. It's very, very high because I'm very passionate about what I do. I'm very passionate about sharing my experiences, helping other people move forward in their business, whether or not it's a financial benefit to me. Helping other people in any way you can with no attachment is an absolute blessing. It's a gift. But many people come from a scarcity mindset and they're just trying to grab everyone all the time and bring them into their business or get them to buy their products. You know, I did a fantastic video with Susan King yesterday, and it's just a really powerful explanation around certain things, which we'll be releasing very, very soon. And you know, when you're hearing somebody else who's gone through and helped businesses start, grow, evolve, and you're hearing all the challenges that those people have had, and yet so many times people come from a scarcity mindset that there's not enough people in the world who are going to buy into their product or service, but more importantly, buy into them. And it's like, really? There are billions of people. Start adding more value. Increase your skill set. That's what's going to help you achieve the success that you desire. And as I mentioned at the start of this call, that you deserve. So I'm just going to check in here as well. We've got a lot of comments coming through. Fantastic. Never for relationships, but on a job. Yes, not my own business. Yes, yes. A boss I had always encouraged us to keep learning and moving forward, putting ourselves into our uncomfortable zone. Fantastic. He was brilliant at letting people learn and move forward. I learned a lot from him. What a great way. Now, you see, that's somebody who's a boss, who's a true entrepreneur, in my opinion. So somebody who's gone out there and created jobs for other people, but also empowers those people to move forward in their own lives, because he, in this case, has experience, no doubt, from being an employee to shifting to an employer, and has had to do his own personal work, his own personal shifting, and then wants to see other people evolve because he knows what it feels like and is happy. But there's a lot of people out there, once again, scarcity mindset. I want to keep these people small. I want to keep them down here because I don't want them to become my competition. Very, very disempowering, and what a way to live in a state of fear. And that's what it is. It's a state of fear. So yes, that line in the sand was huge, was the best decision of my life. We've had some incredible testimonials around drawing the line in the sand, and where, work through people on their own process and get them in that powerful state of understanding where they are today is an absolute blessing. Be grateful for everything that's happened in the past that's led you to this present moment. But it's now time to draw that line in the sand, realize what skills you truly have, and let's move forward together. There's been some incredible shares because people are always looking for the quick get-rich scheme. There is none. So just stick with what you are doing and keep moving forward as always. Yeah, absolutely. And that's it. I think what's really sad about it is a lot of people, because their enticement, their lack of skill set, their lack of knowledge, their lack of ability in themselves is from a scarcity mindset around marketing money to get people and attract people and entice people in. And let's face it, as human beings, we're so conditioned around the value of money that we're attracted to it. And we think it's a fix for everything. I'm not saying that if you haven't got much money and you're stressed that it won't be better, because I've had a fair amount of money and it's been great, and I've also had nothing and it's been challenging. But it's all self-inflicted stress, because at the end of the day, as long as you've got a roof over your head, food on the table, clothes on your back, you're actually, according to the Red Cross, you're 72% better off than most people around the world. If you've got a roof over your head, food on the table, and clothes on your back, over 70% better off than the rest of the people around the world. How powerful is that? That really brings it into perceptions, into reality for us all. So yes, keep having to remind myself that I have drawn a line in the sand and keep moving forward. Wonderful. Yes, loads of wow, there's so many comments. Thank you so much. I have to work every day on my fears, my doubts, because they are here daily. I have to remind myself every day why I started it and how important it is to stay focused. Absolutely. One of the things that I'll say there around that, Letitia, as well, is the second we say we have an attachment to it. We actually control it, and it's always going to control us. So when I was going through the depression, and notice how I said then the depression and not my depression. When I was going through the depression, I always used to say, I'm depressed, I am depressed, my depression. And I always used to have an attachment. I always used to have hold of it. And what happens when you've got hold of something? It's affecting you. You're carrying it around with you. So my advice to you, Letitia, there is just to say the fears, the doubts that are creeping in, because at any given time, you can let go of them. And this isn't just a message for Letitia. This is a message for you right now, because you're choosing to watch this and be with me right at this moment in time. So let's be aware of our language, because our language does disempower us or empower us depending on the connection we've got. I talk a lot around this, especially in Masaru's and Moto's work in regards to vibrancy and energy and the frequency. And remember, our body's mainly made up of 70% water, and all his studies proved that our language affects water. So I'd strongly advise we start looking at the language. There's another thing that it's not in the top 5, and it's a really powerful one, our own communication with ourselves. So hey to everybody else that's jumped on as well. So number 1 was basically employee mindset. Number 2 was the time frame. Number 3 was the commitment. Number 4 was the skill set. Number 5, the most important one, in my opinion, the most important one that disempowers people, that actually takes them all the way back: action. A lack of action. Action sorts everything out. I remember one of my mentors, when I actually met him in person, and we were talking about stuff, and I said, you know, one of the things that I'm really poor at is planning, and that's something I want to work on and get better at. And this was 3 years ago. And he said to me, but one of the things that you are arguably the best at is action. You are relentless. You just take massive amounts of action. He says, and do you know what? There's people who plan and plan and plan, and they never, ever move forward. They never actually take the action to become successful. So it's really important that we do get that level of clarity around the action that's important for us to take. The sun's just setting over here, so bear with me. I think I might just be able to adjust the blinds. But yeah, so it's definitely important, the action that we take to help us move forward. And yet many people don't. They don't take the action. Do you remember how I said before around seminar junkies? Going to the seminar is fantastic, but if you don't act on what you've learned, what's the point? Reading the book is fantastic, but if you don't act on what you've learned, what's the point? The biggest thing that I always say about books, and this is why I'm not a big reader, and it's not that books aren't any good, it's just that I don't get through many books, because I might read a chapter and I get everything that I need, and I just take action on that one chapter and I implement that. I implement what I've learned. What's the point of me reading the whole book and go, woohoo, check this out, Facebook, I've just finished this book, it was great, go and read it and move on to the next one? No, implement what you're learning at the time, because the only way you actually have a connection, an understanding, a spiritual connection to what you've read, what you've learned, what you've heard, is by going out there and physically actioning it. That's what creates the connection, because remember, we're emotional beings, and that's why it's so important. And one of the things, like, emotion controls action. Who here has ever allowed their emotions to control them, to disempower them? I'm going to hold my hand up and say I have. Now, it could have been you had to make a phone call that you didn't want to make, or read a text message from somebody, especially in a relationship when things aren't going well. You didn't want to read that. It's usually a phone call, especially in a network marketing business, a direct sales business, or even traditional business with the follow-up. You know, over 70% as well. It's funny how it's these 70s. Over 70% of people don't follow up with their leads. Why not? Like, fortunes in the follow-up, over 70%. Isn't that crazy? So 3 in 10 people who have put their details in are getting a call back from somebody who's followed up. I know that when I follow up people are on the other end of the phone, like, shocked, because people don't follow up. The fortune's there, the action to make the phone call. This is super important, that we actually get to control our emotions. Now, one of the things that I learned from another mentor of mine is that motion shifts emotion. Motion shifts emotion. So I can sit here with my phone. So I can have my phone here, and I can actually have the person in front of me, the name, the number, and be like, okay, I'm going to make this phone call, but I don't know if I really want to do it, because I don't know if this person's going to challenge me, whatever it's going to be. I'll get back to that. I'll just go on. I'll get this other thing done. Now, or I can just go bang and press the green button, and off I go, and I have the phone call. And do you know what? Every single time I've pressed the green button and I've had the call, and I've been through this myself, I know this from personal experience. Every time I've pressed the green button and had the call, do you know one of the biggest things that's happened? At the end of the call, I'm like, wow, I'm glad I did that. Who's next on the list? What's that mean? I'm actually moving forward in my business, and I'm personally growing. Remember, your business will only grow when you're growing. So that your business growth is a byproduct of you growing. So, and that all comes from action. And the sad thing is that a lot of people, they believe that they need to know everything. When I mentioned earlier around the skill set, number 4, when I mentioned about the skill set, people end up going through this thing called paralysis by analysis. They have to know everything about the product. They have to know everything about the service. Why? Why do you have to know everything? I'm not saying don't continually grow. But what I'm saying is, if you're one of those people that believes that you need to know everything, you are choosing to procrastinate. You are choosing to procrastinate. And if you're sat there now and you're feeling triggered by this, comment below triggered. Don't be ashamed. Comment below triggered, because this is part of the growth. We're all triggered by people. We're all triggered by communication. We're triggered by the way people look. You know, that's how ridiculous we are in regards to our logical brain trying to protect us and keep us in a state of fear. We are triggered by the way just people look, and they could actually make the biggest impact in your life. They could have so much value via personal life experiences that could help you move forward. But we choose to actually have a perception and make assumptions around people. Now, when we procrastinate, we disempower ourselves. You know, the biggest thing is that and thank you for those people who are saying triggered, because this is really powerful, and this is a sign of you willing to grow. This is a sign of you willing to grow by saying I'm triggered. And I want you to reflect on that after this call. I really want you to actually go back and go, why was I triggered? Because everything that triggers us is something that we are afraid of in ourselves, or we know that we are actually showing up as. This is really important that we get clear, and it's things that we have to work through. So we can't blame the other person, because the other person is mirroring what we need to learn to grow. And if we don't get the lesson and we don't go through that process, what's going to happen? We're going to get triggered by somebody else on the same thing. It's going to keep happening. The lessons keep happening. You know, if you've ever been out with somebody as in an intimate relationship, and you finish that and gone, crikey, that was a tornado of a relationship. I don't want to go through that again. But you go looking for the same kind of person, and then you go, why do I keep finding these people? You know, and it's because you're not learning the lesson. You're not going, okay, well, this is what happened in this. This is why this happened. Okay, so I need to now be ready to move forward. I need to find somebody who isn't showing those characteristics, who actually is the kind of person based on my communication. Because remember, when you're asking better questions, you're getting better answers. So as you evolve, you start asking better questions. What's going to happen? The answers are going to take you in the direction you want to go. But everything is actually happening to empower you if you're willing to see it like that. And the action that you take is naturally going to have results. It's going to have consequences. And those consequences are going to be a judgment as to whether they're bad or whether they're good. Everything throughout your life is a consequences. Every single action, you are where you are right now. And when you reflect back on your life, you actually are able to say what was good and what was bad. However, everything was good, because everything was the lesson to help you move forward. And you can't know based on judgment what is good if you don't experience bad. You know, the law of polarity. So the power of the actual power around this, around taking action, is helping you continually evolve. But you've got to reflect. You've got to go and say, what wasn't working? What did work? What can I do better? Because remember, the people who are coming into your life as well, who are triggering you, who are actually, who are not only triggering you, but also that you're having a relationship or whatever, you have to evolve to add more value to them. It isn't all them. It has to be you. Because if you're not a fully complete person, if you're not 100% happy with yourself, if you're not confident in yourself, if you're not the kind of person that's taking action every day, if you're not showing up, if you've not drawn that line in the sand, you're not a whole person. And then if you go and meet somebody else who isn't a whole person, there's a problem. And there's going to be challenges, and you're going to trigger each other, because you've got to each grow. And I don't believe we ever become whole. But I tell you what, there's one thing that I learned very, very quickly in all my intimate relationships was I don't want to have an intimate relationship because I'm not ready to actually to add that level of value that person needs. And the reason for that is because I need to grow. I need to become fully confident in myself. So when I step into that relationship, I am stepping in there with so much value that other person is going to experience that. But more importantly, I'm going to know, because I've grown in so much value, I'm going to know what I'm looking for. So have a really good think about this in your own life, whether you're single now, you're in a relationship. And I'm not saying if you're in a relationship, it's time to move on. What I'm saying is look at the things that you need to work with, communicate with the person, take the action needed. Don't just sit there. Don't just bitch about people to your friends and people you meet. Take the action, sort the things out, because if you've got a problem with somebody else has triggered you, you need to have a conversation with them and you need to work through that. And that's part of your growth. That's part of your lesson. And that level of action is what's going to take you in the direction you need to go to achieve the results that you need to achieve in your life. And I guarantee you this, your business will grow from it. The people whose businesses fail is because they are not willing to work on themselves. They're not willing to take ownership. They're not willing to go through forgiveness, not only to other people, but also to themselves. And remember, we've got to be very, very careful of the word ego. We have to be very, very wary of the word ego, because ego is protecting us every single day. It also helps drive us forward, but it is protecting us every single day. And that is disempowering us when we choose to belittle other people, when we choose to climb over other people, when we choose to actually focus on us being the champions, victorious, whatever it is, the success to go and show out to the rest of the world. Look at my car, look at my house, look at my boat, look at the holidays I go on. All that is from ego. It's showing to other people that, yes, you can have all this if you want, but you need me to go and get it. No, people don't need you. People don't need you. People need to understand themselves to be able to help themselves move forward. So we've got to be very, very careful around this. We've got to be very, very consciously aware of, are we working on our growth every single day, our mindset? Are we shifting through that? Are we actually looking at things from a point of, I'm going to do whatever it takes. I'm going to show up every single day, and I'm not going to put a time frame on this. I'm going to accept that every single day is a growth period for me. Are we going to actually draw that line in the sand? Are we going to commit? Are we going to show up every day? You know, like when John Azaroff was asked by one of his mentors, are you interested or are you committed, John? And he said, what's the difference? And his mentor said to him, if you're interested in achieving your goals and dreams, you'll only ever show up when it's convenient. But if you are committed, you will do whatever it takes to achieve your goals and dreams. Now, notice the difference. You'll just show up when it's convenient, or you will commit. You will show up every single day and do whatever it takes. And John Azaroff decided to draw that line in the sand and push forward. And based on society's view, he's one of the most successful people in the world. Success leaves clues. And that's a really powerful one. Are you interested? Are you committed? So ask yourself right now, what you're doing, are you actually showing up as you're interested or committed? Because you have the ability at any given time to start again. My thing is one of the things I learned from another mentor is hiring and firing yourself. So obviously, if you're going to hire yourself, you've got to first fire yourself. So go up to the mirror, have a conversation with yourself. If you've just come out of a job, or maybe you're in a job and you're starting to grow your own business, if you're actually not achieving the goals that you want within your business, if you've been in it for 5 years and you haven't got to where you want to go up to the mirror and have a conversation with yourself. Do you know what? You haven't been performing. It's been a shame because you said you were going to do what you were going to do. You told me you were committed, but unfortunately I'm going to have to let you go because there's just no space for that lack of commitment. There's no space for that lack of action. But I appreciate your time and I look forward to seeing you again soon. And fire yourself and just say, you're fired. And turn away, walk away, stop, big inward breath, change your state, your body state, inward breath, roll your shoulders back, change your physical state. Turn around and walk back up to the mirror and say, we are looking for somebody who's going to commit, who's going to show up every day, who's going to draw a line in the sand and never look at quitting. And you are the person that we've been looking for and waiting for. You're hired. And hire yourself. Now, that might sound like a bit of a gimmick, but I tell you what, if you actually step into that and you get physically and emotionally connected with that, it will shift for you and you will start achieving the success. Because I've actually quit myself several times. I've fired myself several times. I've not quit on the businesses. I've fired myself because I'm the only variable. Whatever you want to achieve in your life, you are the only variable. Please understand that. You are the only variable towards the success that you desire and that you deserve. So you have to take action. You have to commit. You have to show up. You have to increase your skills. You have to shift your mindset. You have to actually be willing to not keep looking at the clock. My phone's on silent every single day. For what reason? Because I'm engaged. I am focused. I am taking the action that I need to. If I need to look at my phone, I will do. But I am focused, laser focused. When I'm in the car, what am I doing? I'm either calling people that I need to, or I'm listening to personal development. What am I doing whilst I'm having a shave? What am I doing? At any given time, I'm listening to personal development. I'm helping myself continually grow. And this is very, very important that we get clear on that. It's also important to have downtime, beach time, nature time. Get in, give your body what it needs. Fuel your body with good, healthy water. Fuel your body with good nutrition. Go and do movement. There's so many different breathing practices. There's so many different modalities that we need to do as human beings to help our body vitality, help us evolve individually as a human species. However, from your business side, when you're taking care of that and you're showing up in your business, remember those 8 hours I said you've got remaining? When you're showing up, you will start to grow, and you won't be one of those statistics that fails, who quits. You won't be one of those statistics that fails in their business. And I know that everybody who I've had the pleasure of either meeting, speaking with, reading about, listening to, who's successful, in my view, in society's view, every single one has the same characteristics. I didn't give myself a time frame. I just did whatever I had to do. I learned what I needed to do. I got the people around me who had better skill sets in those areas than I had, and I leveraged them to help us all get to where we needed to get to. So start having a really, really good think around that. Fantastic to everybody who's jumped on. Wow, there's so many comments here. What have we got? Doubts are a big thing. It is the practice I have to do every day to think positive and understand that the positive will always win if I allow it. Number one after much change and growth. Fantastic. Yes, triggered. All good. We got this win, indeed we have. Carl Zukav explains this so well within an interview with Oprah Winfrey. Show up even if you don't feel like it. Action and showing up works. Yeah, I've been listening to basically Success Leaves Clues is the way that I would title it, but a lot of people who are successful in society's views, they were giving some advice to people, and it's on an audio that I've got on my phone somehow. I can't remember how I've got it, whether I bought it or downloaded it. And they were basically saying, just show up, like just keep showing up. You can't just obviously show up and sit there and eat a sandwich. You have to take action in that area, but at the same time, show up and do what you've got to do. And even if it's like going to the gym, you can't be bothered. Maybe just go to the gym and don't have the intense workout you were going to have. Just do something, get in that environment and just help yourself shift, because remember, it's just a state we're in that moment. We can shift it at any given time. Understand this so much, has taken a while to understand this and get to grips with it. Constantly moving forward and listening to personal development audios has helped me move forward. Sometimes it has taken me months to get things, but when the time is ready, I understand it. Fantastic. Thank you for all the shares, plenty of comments, plenty of interaction, which is absolutely fantastic and wonderful to hear. So they are my 5. They're not necessarily my top 5, but there's certainly 5 that really jumped out to me for me to do this video today, to share that with you. And as I mentioned, there's many, many more, but there's 5 to really think about, assess them. Some of you were triggered, assess them, go back, watch this video again. Have a true think about everything. Remember what I said about the books that I read. I might read a chapter and go off and implement it. You might just go with key reason number 1. Shifting your mindset. Are you working on your mindset? Are you actually shifting through that? You know, it might be a all around commitment. Are you committed? There's a great book by Darren Hardy called The Compound Effect. Showing up daily, the power of compounding. The same as when you're training in the gym. The same as when you're doing something on a continual basis. What happens? The growth that takes place. We all know that if we keep eating things that aren't good for us, we end up with not a very healthy life. So we've got to start thinking around the things that we're doing within our business, within our personal life, that if we actually made a change and we just showed consistency, what results are we going to get? So thank you so much for your time. Very, very grateful. Look forward to speaking with you again soon. As always, peace, love, and happiness. Thank you for your time. Enjoying my YouTube channel? Please make sure you hit the subscribe button and notification bell to receive further value.